Post-capitalist pedagogy is, at base, a pedagogical project. It is about the humanization of people through intentional educational practices. It is built upon the recognition that childhood in modern society is a dehumanizing process that separates us from our innate drives, from our instincts, from our processes of maintenance and homeostasis, and sets us up on the wrong course. The problem is that it is near impossible to humanize another if you cannot effectively humanize yourself. So we as adults cannot effectively humanize children until we understand the nature of our own humanity. This requires profound levels of cultural healing, but we can do both at the same time. We can attempt to adapt our interactions with children to be more humanizing while working on the humanization of ourselves. And due to the dialogical nature of humanization, this actually works in our favor. Because what we need to have healthy relationships with young people in our society is dialogue. It is the co-construction of reality with them. Now, this is a delicate process because obviously there are things that we as a culture have developed that we want children to understand. Children are not going to automatically and intuitively come up with algebra or quantum physics. In order to effectively achieve this dialogue, we need to engage in the process of disentangling truth from perspective, and that is much harder than it sounds because every aspect of human knowledge is influenced by individual perspective. That is unavoidable. This is why what we need to do when engaging with children in a humanizing way is suspend our beliefs. We need to hold back on our socially constructed knowledge in order to make space for them to develop their own. For the child, this process of dialogue is entirely open-ended. It is the entirety of their world that they are sharing. But for us, it is about carefully and conscientiously drip-feeding our model of reality into this interaction. Because if we simply open the floodgates, we will overwhelm their imagination and their ability to construct reality for themselves with the pre-existing models of reality that human society has developed. But we know that there are vast aspects of those preconceived models of reality that we don't agree with. Things like patriarchy, racism, we don't want those in our interactions with children. We need to be able to suspend those concepts and the things that are related to them in order to effectively build in conjunction, in collaboration with children. For many of us, this is a profoundly challenging thing to do. It requires a level of creative playfulness that many of us are now unfamiliar with. The solution really stems from not connecting at the level of intellectualization, but the level of affect. It is about developing shared feelings with the child. What it feels like to learn something new, what it feels like to play in certain ways, what it feels like to create certain forms of art. And then we step back and allow space for them to create their intellectual interpretation. And allowing at the same time for our model to be changed by this process.